Hello there guys and welcome back to Planet Coaster. I'm Deftonish and in today's episode we're going to be building the long-awaited roller coaster for the pirate-themed area of the park that I've been wanting to build. So as you can see from a few of the shots, the coaster isn't fully built. The layout is there and a lot of the theming is in place, but unfortunately I didn't have enough time or hard drive space to be able to build it completely. So there's going to be a couple more episodes in which I'm going to be filling out the rest of the areas of the roller coaster and then working on a few more flat rides and that kind of thing. So without further ado, we'll skip to, well, we're just clearing a few areas of the park, but you'll see that I place the roller coaster down first just to get the layout in place, and then I get onto the theming later on. Unfortunately, I didn't actually realise that there was a building tool, or I say tool, but I more mean function within the roller coaster building settings. And so I do start building a structure around the roller coaster originally, but then I do scrap it later on in the episode. So you'll see a cut for that, and I had to record this episode over a couple of days just due to the fact that I ran out of hard drive space on my computer while I was recording using Fraps. So I'm going to need to find a probably better recording software, as Fraps takes up a damn lot of my my hard drive space. But anyway, I'm just building the first drop right now, and I wanted something that was going to swoop down and then do a kind of overbank turn, sort of on its way towards the station, I should say. And I'm just doing a bit of tweaky here. I actually scrapped this bit and edit it sort of back towards the first drop into more of a swoop around, I should say. So I really like the way this looks. It turns out quite, I'd say quite realistic. I wanted to build something that was going to be quite, something that you'd see in the real world, basically. The coaster ends up looking somewhat inspired by Expedition Everest at Disneyland. So it's got a lot of swooping drops and quick turns. And the idea of the coaster was that it was going to be themed around the Kraken element that we have in the game so far. It's kind of like an animatronic that sprays water over your guests. As you can see here, it swoops down out of the what's going to be a cave. And so it swoops around out of here, comes into a couple of S-bends, and then comes back into the station. So yeah, that's the layout complete. I'm really happy with how that layout turned out. I just popped down a few things here just to test the coaster. I do ride it, but it's off screen that I ride it. As you can see a little glimpse of it there, but I didn't want to ruin the surprise for the video that I will do of the coaster cam, which will be a fully edited and musically scored video for the coaster itself. So I'm just going around using the Smooth tool, and yeah, just tweaking a few little elements, and that will be the coaster complete. So let me know what you think in the comments. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out, but if anybody has any suggestions, I'm willing to hear them and sort of work out what I can do with the coaster. So I'm just adding in a few different paths here just to round off the area. I will come back to this at a later date and retweak it, because that roundabout at the end really does not look very good, and you'll see especially why later on. So this is going to be a central kind of plaza area. There'll be a few shops. Kind of want to put in a kind of restaurant or something similar to that in that area. And you can see here I'm just starting to build the entrance to the cave that I will be building. And this actually took an insane amount of time. I think I've spent probably about 4 to 5 hours on this ride already, and this is at like, I think 6 or 9 times speed, so it is going a lot faster than it looks. Yeah, so just building in this other cave. well, cave entrance, I should say. Yeah, so I wanted to make sure that there were a lot of near-miss elements in the coaster, but nothing that was going to chop anybody's heads off. So unfortunately, there are a few elements so far that do that, so I will have to come back and tweak those at a different time. So yeah, here I'm just building somewhat of a lagoon, and I'm using the blue topped roofs to create that theme of water, as unfortunately we don't have any water in the game yet, which isn't an issue so much, as we can create somewhat of a similar idea with the blue top roofs. So adding a bit of foliage just to add I guess a bit of variety to the environment. I will come back and do a hell of a lot more foliage in another episode, and I'm just adding in the layout of what I wanted the cave to look like here. So there's a large open expanse right at the beginning, but then later on it does get packed with quite a few different objects and scenery items. So just building the cave walls here. This really, I cannot stress how much time this took me to build all of these different walls, and I hope you guys like the way it turned out, because for the amount of time I put into it, it needs to be kind of worthwhile, really. So yeah, just a quick one. If you've been enjoying these videos so far, it would be really appreciated by me if you could subscribe, just to keep up to date with the progress of the park. Also, if you have any suggestions for the park, pop them into the comments below, and I'm going to do my absolute best to incorporate them into the park. So I have quite a lot of ideas, but none are better than having the viewers like you telling me what you think I should include. So yeah, for this drop I wanted to little marketing speech over there. For this drop I wanted the guests to fly down deep into the cave and cross in with some of the other riders on the ride, but unfortunately, as we can only have one car on the track at a time at the moment, that won't be in it quite yet. But once the game gets further into alpha, or when it's released, hopefully we can have that kind of thing going on in the ride. So these rocks that I'm using are actually so good for creating somewhat of a terrain. I mean, I cannot stress how much I cannot wait for the terrain editor to be included, but as for now, these rocks do a fantastic job of being able to build, I guess, somewhat of a terrain-based roller coaster. I wanted to build this coaster on top of this terrain anyway, to give it a bit more of a, I guess, height difference to the rest of the park. I wanted you to be able to see this park as soon as you walked out of the end of the main street, and be able to see this in the distance, or at least the large mountain that I've created in the distance. So this rock bit I'm building here is actually where I say that the ride is inspired by Expedition Everest, as if you've ever ridden the roller coaster or even seen POVs of it on YouTube, then you'll know what I mean, as it goes up into that kind of structure and through the mountain. So yeah, I'm just covering over the cave right now, as I'm happy with what the shape of it is. I'm not sure if I'll come back to this and extend the cave outwards a little bit, just to add a bit more depth to it and maybe a bit more realism. I'm not sure if it needs it, but yeah. So I'm adding in a few different scenery objects. We don't have a large variety of them at the moment, so I've had to repeat a lot of them at the moment. And my idea was that this would be somewhat of a kind of pirate exploration cave, where they've come in, stored all their supplies, and you're on this ride to search for treasure that was left behind. But unfortunately, there have been rumours of a large water-dwelling beast called the Kraken that is basically wanting to come in and ruin your day. So that's the basic idea. And I'm adding in this other cave where as soon as you leave the station, you will have your first encounter with the Kraken. It's going to be evil, and it's going to be big, and it's going to want to take the gold for itself. And here is where I mentioned about the building that I created. I put a bit of work into this, and then I don't actually end up using half of the building. Though the basic idea for it stays the same, I adjust quite a bit of it though. So yeah, I wanted it to be somewhat of a kind of pirates kind of castle, or a castle that had been taken over by pirates, and you were popping in there just to see what goodies they had in store. And here's where I discovered that you can actually do the building. I wasn't going to do anything with it at first, but then I realised it was probably just easier to delete the whole building and redo it. So yeah, just building a sort of winding path. This queue is not as long as I'd have wanted it to be, but I don't think at the moment the queues really justify rebuilding it. So yeah, here I'm trying to experiment with something that I've seen people do before, is where they duplicate one object and kind of bug the game out to sort of think that you're building a whole building using it. But I'm not sure how it turned out. It looks a bit scruffy to me, but it does the job, and it's just meant to be a bit of diversity in the queue line. So yeah, putting the roofs on was a bit of a nightmare really. It looks quite quick there, but I had to work out what I was doing and then adjust it. So yeah, there's a fade out here where the original episode was going to end, but then I decided I wanted to just do it in one large video, save getting you guys to watch like probably about 4 episodes it would have been. So rather than that, it's now going to be maybe 2 or 3, I'm thinking. And here you can see I'm actually rebuilding the building. Say building, structure, kind of castle thing. So I'm happy with how it turned out at the moment. You'll see at the end of the episode that it's not fully built. So I will be coming back to this in one of the later episodes to add some kind of more scenery objects and a bit of diversity into the walls. Add some more kind of theming based elements, that kind of thing. I wanted to build the castle kind of thing as if it was built into the rock, at least somewhat. So I do that, I pop in a couple of turrets, a few windows over the place. I think it turns out quite well. Obviously, in this game, you're never really finished. There's always stuff that you can do to make the coasters or the rides look infinitely better, but it's at a point where I'm happy to not call it finished, but call it complete in my mind. So the only additions would be sort of scenery elements like the cargo that the in the pirate set, and just pop a few of those kind of elements in. Some of the main theming elements will be around the rest of the area of the park anyway. There's going to be a lot of flora that I want to include, that kind of thing. So I cannot stress how much I love this game. There's so much to it, and there's so much potential already in just this short alpha. The amount of things that people are building and the creations that I'm seeing all over the place is just fantastic. It seems like Frontier knew exactly what the fans wanted, and they're doing everything in their power to create that. So yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic game, and I would really advise all of you to go and pre-order the alpha right now. Yeah, so finishing off this cave, because I never actually finished it previously. I didn't want to link this bit to the rest of the other cave, or slash mountain is what it really turned out to be. Yeah, so I didn't want to link this to it. I wanted this to be a kind of separate cave that the pirates or smugglers would have used to keep some more stashes of cargo. I'm going to do the lighting for this build in probably a separate video that you're not obligated at all to watch, but if you want to, I wouldn't tell you not to. Yeah, putting a few different wooden structures around just to make it seem like the place is in a bit of state of disrepair. Building this kind of stone kind of hill up into the castle just to hide some of that kind of ugly support work on the paths. Something I've never been keen on is the supports for paths or raised pathways. I just think they look somewhat ugly, I guess. They're just not my kind of thing, really. I know a lot of other people have used them and they think they look good, but, you know, personal preference, and this is what this game is all about, is using the available tool sets to you in the most efficient manner possible, I guess. Creating something that you're happy with, and I'm not happy unless it looks either realistic or somewhat very detailed. So yeah, I decided to add in another blue lagoon here. Not really sure why, but I like the idea of that kind of large spire of rock coming out of the middle of it from this kind of lagoony kind of area. So yeah, covering up a few different bits of the scenery walls there with rocks, and now adding a bit of flora to the mountain to add a bit more diversity. A few bits of seaweed hanging down. I had somewhat of an idea that this place would have been sunken at some point, and since then the water has washed away from some of the major parts of the area, and so that's why the Kraken is still here. Yeah, I love the idea of having this ship here that had once been sunken and has since been revealed to those that come to this area, or that kind of thing. Yeah, so continuing adding flora all around the area. It really does wonders for a build is to add flora and these kind of taking what these, I think they were palm trees, very short palm trees, sinking them down a bit and making them into kind of ferns, and then just adding some of these bushes and like creep vines around everywhere. It kind of makes it look as if the area has been kind of forgotten, or that sort of style of thing. So yeah, it looked quite good. I'm happy with how it looks there. I will have to come back and potentially edit a few of the bits. I wanted that to be a kind of vine area, but yeah, talking about something that's just gone by within like seconds. But yeah, adding a few more of these ferns, and then I go around in a second to add some kind of rocky planter areas underneath the coaster that you would fly by as you're on the roller coaster. So yeah, and as I mentioned before, I will be doing a coaster cam of this roller coaster once the whole area is finished. So don't expect it as soon as this coaster is finished. Expect it once the whole area is finished, as I don't think there's much point doing a coaster cam while you can't see much of the surrounding area, as when you go on a roller coaster in real life, it's not just the coaster that is themed, it's the whole surrounding parts of the park that are themed. So yeah, that's it for now. In the next couple of episodes, I will be covering the main elements of flora, the surrounding kind of area with flat rides. I want to edit that plaza, and I will come back to the main castle to add a bit of scenery around. The lighting, like I said before, will be in a separate episode. So if you're interested in the lighting, watch that episode, because I'd like to go quite in depth with how to create more realistic lighting based on what I know about theatre lighting. So that'll be my partner that knows that. So she's going to give me a tutorial, and then I will pass the knowledge on to you. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, give it a like. Also, if you could subscribe so that you're up to date on the latest episodes as and when they come out, that would be perfect. So again, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next episode. Bye-bye!